tennis. I'm the only Filipina.
What happens when a tennis tournament gets hijacked by a state governor? What if I told you that the entire BNP Paribas Open ground to a complete standstill, not because of rain, not because of a player injury, but because one athlete walked through the gates? And we are not talking about Serena, not Federer, not even Djokovic. We're talking about Alex Eala, a 20-year-old Filipino sensation who just made California's governor break every protocol in the book. Stick around, because what Governor Gavin Newsom did next triggered a meltdown so massive that Novak Djokovic himself started questioning if tennis had just become a political circus. Quick favor, if you're loving this content, hit that subscribe button. Over 92% of viewers haven't subscribed yet. It costs nothing but means everything to us. Already subscribed? Awesome. Thanks so much. Now back to the chaos at Indian Wells. Picture this: March 2026, Indian Wells, California. The desert sun is blazing, the courts are pristine, and the world's best players are gearing up for one of tennis's most prestigious tournaments. Then, like a scene straight out of a political thriller, Governor Gavin Newsom's motorcade rolls up to the BNP Paribas Open, not for a photo op, not for a ceremonial first serve, but to shut the whole thing down for one player, Alex Eala. Yes, you heard that right. The governor of California just hit pause on a $1 million tournament because a Filipino tennis star stepped onto the property. Imagine the confusion. Fans clutching their tickets, wondering why security is suddenly tripling, players mid-warm-up getting told to clear the courts, coaches checking their phones, thinking there's a bomb threat or a wildfire evacuation. Nope, just Gavin Newsom rolling out the red carpet like Alex Eala is visiting royalty. But here's where it gets juicy. This is not just about one politician being starstruck. This is about a $75 million Nike deal, a fan base so massive it spans 3 continents, and a political play so bold that even Hollywood scriptwriters would call it too unrealistic. Alex Eala is not just a tennis player anymore. She's a brand, she's a movement, and apparently she's now a state-level priority that outranks actual tournament operations. Let that sink in for a second. So why did Newsom do it? Well, according to sources close to the governor's office, Alex represents something bigger than backhands and breakpoints. She's a symbol of diversity, of global influence, of California's commitment to being a cultural and economic powerhouse. Translation? Alex Eala just became a political asset, and Newsom was not about to let her slip through Indian Wells without making a statement. And boy, did he make one. The moment Alex's team arrived at the venue, state-level security swarmed the area like she was carrying nuclear codes. We're talking California Highway Patrol, private security details, and enough barriers to make the White House jealous. Tournament officials were caught completely off guard. One staff member reportedly said it felt like the Secret Service had just annexed center court. Players scheduled for practice sessions were redirected. Fans hoping to catch a glimpse of their favorite stars were suddenly told certain areas were restricted, all because Governor Newsom decided that Alex Eala deserved treatment reserved for heads of state. But wait, there's more. Newsom didn't just stop at rolling out the welcome wagon. He announced a $5 million state honor to establish a youth tennis development center in Alex's name. Yes, a $5 million facility dedicated to a player who hasn't even won a Grand Slam yet. Picture that. Meanwhile, legends like Pete Sampras and Billy King built their legacies over decades before getting that kind of recognition. Alex? She got it before her 21st birthday. Now, don't get me wrong. Alex Eala is incredibly talented. Her rise through the ranks has been nothing short of spectacular. But a state-funded development center before she's lifted a major trophy? That's not just bold, that's rewriting the entire playbook of how athletes get honored. Naturally, the tennis world lost its mind. Within hours, social media exploded with reactions from applause to absolute outrage. Fans of Alex were celebrating like she had just won Wimbledon. Filipino communities across California were posting videos of watch parties, calling it a historic moment for representation. Meanwhile, tennis purists were pulling their hair out, asking how a governor could justify halting a professional tournament for what essentially looked like a publicity stunt. One Twitter user quipped, "Newsom just turned Indian Wells into a campaign rally disguised as a tennis event." Ouch, but honestly, not far from the truth. And then the players started speaking up. Oh, you better believe the players had opinions. Novak Djokovic, never one to shy away from controversy, reportedly told his team that if governors start deciding who gets special treatment at tournaments, then tennis has officially lost its integrity. He didn't name Alex directly, but the implication was crystal clear. Iga Swiatek's camp raised concerns about fairness, questioning whether state-level interventions set a dangerous precedent for future events. Even some of Alex's fellow players, who publicly supported her, privately admitted that the whole situation felt uncomfortable. Because let's be real, nobody wants to compete in an environment where it feels like the rules only apply to some people. But here's where it gets even messier. The tournament organizers were stuck between a rock and a hard place. On one hand, they have a governor wielding state power and making demands. On the other hand, they have players, sponsors, and fans expecting a fair and professional competition. So what did they do? They caved. Operations were adjusted, security protocols were rewritten on the fly, and Eala, whether she wanted it or not, became the center of a political storm that had nothing to do with her backhand and everything to do with optics, power, and money. Now let's talk about that $75 million Nike deal, because that's the elephant in the room that nobody wants to address. Alex signed one of the most lucrative endorsement contracts in women's tennis history before winning a single WTA title. That's not a knock on her talent, that's a statement about her marketability. Nike didn't just see a tennis player, they saw a global icon in the making. A young, charismatic athlete with a built-in fan base spanning Asia, North America, and beyond. And when you're worth $75 million to a brand like Nike, guess what? You're not just an athlete anymore. Meanwhile, fans caught in the middle of this chaos had no idea what to think. Some were thrilled to witness history in the making. Others felt cheated, having paid top dollar for tickets only to see their favorite players' matches delayed or disrupted because of a political spectacle. One fan, interviewed outside the venue, said, "I came here to watch tennis, not a governor's photo op." Fair point. Another fan countered, "This is bigger than tennis. This is about representation and recognizing greatness." Also a fair point. And that is the problem. Nobody could agree on whether this was a celebration or a catastrophe. But let us get back to the real question. Did Eala ask for any of this? Probably not. Most athletes, especially rising stars, want to focus on their game, not navigate political landmines. But once you sign a $75 million deal and become a cultural phenomenon, you do not get to control the narrative anymore. You become a symbol, whether you like it or not, and symbols get used by people in power to make statements. The controversy did not stop at Indian Wells. Within days, tennis commentators, sports analysts, and political pundits were all weighing in. Some praised Newsom for recognizing the importance of diversity in sports. Others accused him of turning a professional tournament into a campaign event. And in the middle of it all was Alex, a 20-year-old trying to build a career while the entire world debated whether she deserved the pedestal she was being placed on. Here's the kicker. This is not just about Eala or Gavin Newsom. This is about the future of sports. We are living in an era where athletes are no longer just competitors. They are brands, influencers, political symbols, and economic powerhouses. And when you mix that with government intervention, corporate interests, and media spectacle, you get moments like Indian Wells 2026, where the lines between sports, politics, and entertainment blurs so much that nobody knows where one ends and the other begins. So what does this mean for tennis? Well, if governors can halt tournaments for individual players, what stops other politicians from doing the same? What happens when a mayor decides their hometown hero deserves special treatment? What happens when sponsors start demanding that their endorsed athletes get VIP protocols? The precedent set at Indian Wells is not just controversial, it is potentially dangerous for the integrity of the sport. And let us not forget the other players who have spent years grinding, earning their stripes, and building their legacies without state-funded honors or motorcade entrances. How do you think they feel watching a 20-year-old get treatment that legends had to wait decades to receive? It's not jealousy, it's a legitimate question about fairness, merit, and what it means to truly earn recognition in professional sports. But here's the twist. Maybe this is exactly what modern tennis needs. Maybe the old guard needs to be shaken up. Maybe athletes like Alex, who bring global fan bases and unprecedented marketability, deserve to be treated differently because they are operating on a different level. After all, tennis has always been about star power. From McEnroe to Sharapova to Federer, the sport has thrived on personalities that transcend the court. Eala might just be the next evolution of that phenomenon. As the dust settles on Indian Wells' 2026 controversy, one thing is clear. Eala is no longer just a tennis player. She is a cultural force, a political talking point, and a symbol of how sports, celebrity, and power intersect in the modern world. Whether you think Newsom's actions were justified or a complete overreach, you cannot deny that they changed the conversation. And maybe that was the point all along. In the end, this is not just about one tournament or one player. It's about a seismic shift in how we think about sports, fame, and influence. And if Indian Wells 2026 taught us anything, it's that the game has changed, the rules have been shattered, and Eala is standing right in the center of it all.